Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah thumma ba'd. We might have heard many times, subhanAllah, that Allah has appointed selective angels with us, that stay with us, that accompany us. Some hadith refer to these angels as hafala. In general, angels of protection that protect us from anything that's harmful to us. Now, there's some things that make it so that these angels go away. Some actions. For example, when we're nude, when we take off our clothes, essentially, our protective angels stay away. They don't want to see any of this. When we go into the washroom, those hafalat, they stay outside. Which is why it's the recommendation in Islam to, when using the washroom, be quick. Use it, do what you have to do, and be out. Unfortunately, now people take their phones in the washrooms, and who knows how long they take. Sometimes people taking lots of time in the toilet. But so the reason why we need those hafadah with us, inshallah, I'm going to make mention of a few small pointers here. But just before that, so when we expose our body, when our satara is not covered anymore, those hafadah are not with us. Even if that is, we're in the shower. Some people like to take nude showers long, maybe 15, 20, 30-minute showers. That's obviously Islamically not recommended either. I mean, for example, myself, I can't remember the last time I took more than maybe 5 minutes inside of a shower. I mean, I don't know what else you have to do in the shower. Anyhow, so even whilst taking a shower, because you're nude, I remember when we were studying hadith and Quran, some of our teachers recommended even not going nude in the shower. Simply because when you become vulnerable, the issues with memory, obviously, memorization of Quran, memorization of hundreds of hadith becomes an issue. Nowadays you ask someone, memorize the Quran, memorize the hadith, they say, it's very hard, cannot do it. Why? Because all kind of other things is in the brain. There's no room for this Quran and Sunnah. Anyway, so it's difficult, wallahi difficult. Anyhow, so we used to shower with clothes on. So how we used to do, we wear a just a simple a white sheet of cloth covering from the belly button to below the knees, and that's how we used to shower for years and years. Simply on the advice of our teachers that it'll help with the memory in terms of memorization of Quran and Hadith. Wallahu alam, it did help, I would say yes. Anyhow, another reason why our angels, these protective angels, run away is if we lie. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us, lying has a spiritual stench, it's a bad smell, and when we lie, those angels run far, far away. So we don't want to lie. Now, subhanAllah, there's a hadith in Bukhari and a Muslim. It's becoming a normal practice in our ummah for us to stay awake at night. And who knows, maybe we're on the internet, we're on our phones, we're in our beds, we're watching television, we're awake. It's becoming normal that most people, especially youth, and sometimes parents on a day off, they'll spend the night awake, doing whatever. The Prophet ﷺ mentions in a hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, and I'm going to paraphrase here, that when it's after Isha is done, go to bed. Even don't do majalis al-dhikr or nasiha. What we're doing right now, the recommendation is to not do it at this time. It's to be in our beds, to be sleeping. In another hadith, so imagine the Prophet ﷺ saying, don't even do dhikr of Allah or recite Quran at this time. Recitation do it at Fajr time, do it at before Maghrib time. This is the time. Don't even read Quran at this time at night, and we're sitting at home on our phones. What's the reason? Why? The Prophet ﷺ mentions in many hadith, what happens in at nighttime, the influence of shaitan is extensive. The influence of shaitan in the night is extensive. This is very, very sarih hadith of Bukhari and Muslim. The influence of shaitan is more heightened after Maghrib for the whole night than it is during the day. The shayateen, they spread out to do their fitan, which is why most crimes actually happen in the night, and most disobedience of Allah actually happens in the night too. Anyhow, so the Prophet ﷺ is telling us, when at nighttime, what you should do, lock your doors. He's saying, your house door, lock it. he didn't say lock it because of a physical, somebody's going to come and maybe rob you or anything. The hadith is talking about shayateen. فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنْتَشِرُ حِينَئِذٍ. Shayateen. So he's saying lock your door. Because the shayateen, your angels, you don't want, just like we have angels protecting us, you have the shayateen around us too. All over. So he says lock your door. And then the Prophet ﷺ says, don't let your children roam around at night. This is the same hadith. Don't let your children roam around. And mostly youth like to hang out at night nowadays. Think about it. Pay attention. Then the Prophet ﷺ says, if you have food sitting around, cover the food. If you have food in a plate or in a utensil, cover this utensil. Because you don't want shayateen to come and put any influence in this food. Whatever the influence is, wallahu a'lam. So cover the food. And then the Prophet ﷺ says, if you have some fire, if you've lit a fire, you have a candle, you have a fireplace, put the fire out. You don't want shaitan, the shayateen, to come, take benefit from this fire, and wallahu a'lam what they can do, maybe harm you in some way. So put out the fire. So now the Prophet ﷺ is saying, before you go to sleep, seek protection in Allah from shaitan, even physically, by locking your doors, keeping your children with you. Now, subhanAllah, the question, what I want to highlight here is, what happens when let's say we locked everything. You locked your doors, you put your food away, you shut the windows, your kids are there, but everybody's in their bed on their cell phone. Wallahi al-azim, you've done nothing. You have the whole world open. The whole world is open on your phone. What's not there? What's not on your telephone? Now, some of us think, no, I'm studying. I'm studying. How dumb can we be? Even your own science that you're studying told you you're not productive at night. You're most productive mentally after Fajr Salah. So why are you studying at night? You know what I'm saying? Shaitan has made a system in which we think the night is productive in this way. It's not. The Prophet ﷺ told us it's not productive. The Prophet ﷺ is telling us it's not productive, and even our own science today is telling us studying at night is unproductive. You're not productive at all. And I can tell you from experience, when we used to memorize Quran, we had something called a mutala', where we used to sit 2 hours after Maghrib Salah and just practice. I can't remember any mutala' we practiced. None, zero, zip. We just read Quran basically, or played and socialized. When it came time for Fajr, we had to recite Quran. And if we did not recite Quran, we could not have breakfast. It's not like today, a bunch of whiny babies if you don't have breakfast. We were not allowed to have breakfast if we didn't say our lesson for that day. So right after Fajr, we would start or before Fajr, get into that drive and memorize 2-3 pages of Quran or Hadith and say it to the teacher, done. In a matter of 10-15 minutes. So the nights they're not productive. Yet still, we want to study at night. Well, why don't you wake up after Fajr? You see the problem here. Even the Prophet ﷺ, he said, he told us in another hadith, the mornings have barakah. The mornings have barakah. Now imagine you sleep the whole morning. The barakah of my ummah is in the morning time. Now you sleep the whole morning, you woke up at dhuhr. The children are all waking up at dhuhr. Where's the barakah in the morning? Alhamdulillah, for myself, I grew up this way. I prefer to sleep the night. When it's time to sleep, just sleep the whole night. And then after Fajr, stay awake. The rest of the day, doesn't matter. And then if you need a nap during the day, it's sunnah to nap around dhuhr time for half an hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And that refreshes you at that time for the rest of the day. So we're actually making ourselves counterproductive by allowing these habits in our own homes, even though the science is against it too. If you think about, secularism, it's also against it, but we still do it. So the takeaway for today is, let's try to use the days. The morning hours particularly have the barakah within. And then the night sleeping. If we think we're seeking protection in the love from shaitan by locking the doors, keeping our kids home, and then we just have the internet on, it's of no use. The shaitan is open right there in your hand. It's just the way it is. And subhanAllah, practically speaking, in our house is the same thing. We don't use the internet at all, particularly at night. At nighttime, it's off. Too bad if someone, and subhanAllah, our ummah is very weak, very weak. One morning I woke up, and sometimes I turn my phone on around 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. by the time I'm here, and a lot of missed calls and messages. So I answered one day some missed calls, and there was a family very angry with me. One of their relatives had passed away, so they were angry. I didn't answer the phone at 2:30 a.m. I phoned them. I phoned them back. I said, listen, I cannot do nothing for you at 2:30 a.m. Zero. What can I do? Dig a grave? I can do nothing. Wallahi, I can do absolutely zero. What I can do for you at 2:30 a.m. You're going to ruin my sleep. You're already not sleeping. So it's better you wait till the morning. He's like, why is your phone off? Your phone should be on 24 hours a day. I said, then what am I, a machine? How am I going to get comfort? At least at nighttime, let me sleep in peace. Right? So I explained to the brother, I said, listen, brother, now the offices are open at 8:30. Now we can start doing what we need to do. Prior to that, I couldn't do nothing. Just, you're just frustrating yourself for no reason. So he understood that, what is the guy supposed to do even if he answered the phone at 2:30 a.m.? They're in a difficult situation too, so you can't be too difficult. But this is the reality of the dunya. We want everything, boom, 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 quick, done. So reserve your night for peace, for sleep, for rejuvenation. And the science is telling you already. I don't know, we don't listen to the deen, but even the science is telling you. This blue light is detrimental for our health. Something with the brain, mashallah, we have scientists here, alhamdulillah. Isn't it this blue light is bad for the brain? It does something, dopamine, make you stay awake or something. Wallah, you guys know. I don't know. But it doesn't even, the science is telling you, put this trash away. Start dimming the lights as the nights become closer. Allah did not make it like a light switch, The day, Allah didn't make it light switch like, subhanAllah, here if you turn the light off, it becomes pitch dark. This is not natural. Even the science will tell you, start dimming the lights until, then you say, I can't sleep the whole night. You sleep after Fajr till Dhuhr, I don't sleep the whole night. I tell some of our brothers and sisters, even my own family members, I cannot fall asleep at night. I said, well, you slept till Dhuhr. How are you going to sleep at night? Ask me, I lay down in 2 seconds, 10 seconds, I'm passed out because I've been awake since Fajr. You people sleeping the whole day, right? So this transition, Allah mentions this transition in the Quran of the day into the night, how gradual and smooth the sun sets in a way, everything goes from bright light to that still darkness. This means it's time to shut down. But for us, there's no shutting down. The brain is thinking, no, keep going. Even though it's just not going to be productive. So let's try to sleep at night. Right now, pray our salawat, go to sleep, and stay away. And I'm going to end with this final thing. Unfortunately, I have to say it. The most successful people in the dunya. The most successful people financially in the dunya. I'm not saying akhirah. Success of the dunya even. What time do they wake up? They wake up early, 4:30, 5 o'clock, 3 a.m. They wake up and they start their days when most of the world is sleeping. They're part of the ummah too. They're misguided, but they're part of the ummah. Barakah fi salah. Barakah is in the morning. So wake up in the morning. Use the mornings for ourselves, to our benefit. And leave the evening for sleeping. Yes, brother, you have a question.
So,